Hey everybody. Hey everybody, and welcome to our Facebook Live. It is Monday, July 21st, and this started early. I think I hit a button. Anyway, here we are. We're going to start a little bit early today. I may even go a little bit longer. So do me a favor. Jump in the comment section, say hello, tell me where you're from. If you are not already a member of our Common Sense Parenting with Pam Facebook group, please consider joining. It's free. I think we're up to 1,300 members now, but if you hit the link, I don't know why there's two of them, there's two of them. Lots of opportunities to join. Hit that link. There's 4 questions you have to answer, but you have to answer all 4. And then you'll be admitted into the group. And there's a reason, a specific reason why today, that's really important. Stay tuned to the end, and I'll explain that to you. But we're going to talk today about speaking less and saying more. That really doesn't sound like it makes much sense, does it? But trust me, you're gonna understand by the end of this. So have you ever had an experience where you are telling your child it's time to do something? You know, clean your room, pick up your toys, put your shoes away, whatever it is. And they're like, why? Or they try to stall, or they ignore you, or they try to negotiate. Well, 5 more minutes, can I just have 5 more minutes? Okay? And then you get into this almost like a power struggle sometimes with your kids because they're learning very quickly, if you don't enforce what you say the first time, that they can keep asking you, keep resisting, keep ignoring, keep trying to compromise and negotiate with you. I don't know about you, but that doesn't work for me as a parent. Here's something you need to understand. You are the parent. You need to be the parent. Children want direction. They want guidance. They want to be told what to do, what comes next. Okay, now, for your older kids, I'm going to explain this to you in a minute, but this is like for your younger kids, say up to, 3 up to like 8, 9 maybe. The 10, 11, 12-year-olds, yes, you can give a little bit more explanation to. But here's the thing. If your children know what you expect of them already, why are you going into long details and explanations? And I see this a lot because I'm observing when I'm out in public. Trust me, I hear things. I see things. I have to bite my tongue a lot of the times, but I hear parents talking at their children and explaining ad nauseum about why they want something done. For example, at the park, and mom says, hey guys, 5 minutes, we're leaving the park. Great, she's given the warning, the advance notice, wonderful. Then 5 minutes pass and mom says, I see this all the time, okay guys, time to go, 5 minutes is up. And right away you hear the, Mom, can I have 5 more minutes? Oh, I don't want to go right now. I'm having so much fun. Mom. Okay. Now, hopefully, a mom says, no, it's time to go. If mom says, oh, okay, or the child's like, but mom, I want to play for 5 more minutes because I met a friend. Do we want to play? And mom's like, well, okay, I guess if you met a friend. You see what's happening here? Now, you might not think that's a big deal, but it is. Because now you're teaching your child that when you say something, you don't mean it. That there's room for negotiation, there's room for compromise, there's room for stalling. Sometimes they'll flat out ignore the parent. They'll just pretend they didn't hear mom at the park, right? Because there's so many children and so many parents that can pretend, I didn't know it was you calling me. Now, yes, there are times you need to explain, but not in this situation. Now, you can compromise. Maybe if you decide, well, you know what? We ran into a friend that came up, in that 5-minute window. We decided we're going to stay for a little bit longer. That's okay. And you could say that to your child. Hey, you know what? Originally, the plan was we're leaving, but so-and-so showed up. I'll give you 5 more minutes. That's justified. We're not being hardcore drill sergeants here. What you are being is a parent who puts expectations forward to your children and expects them to comply and follow through. And if they don't, there's consequences. And you as a parent need to follow through every single time. Because, I preach this. Mean what you say what you mean, right? You have to do that or they're quickly going to learn they can ignore you. And then parents say to me, why is my child ignoring me? Or they resort to yelling because they're so frustrated. If you find yourself in that position, you created that. You created that beast. And you can go back and fix that. Okay, let me give you an example of maybe when it's okay to explain. So I was at the YMCA with my grandsons and grandchildren. This was a couple years ago. So my grandson was like 5 at the time. And we're on the far side of the soccer field. And there's a playground all the way across the soccer field, up a driveway, like a parking lot path. And there's the playground. And he said, can I go play? And I'm watching the soccer game. Can I go play? And I said, I could have just said no. I said, my job is to keep you safe. And if you're at that park, you're at that playground, I can't get to you in time if I need to. First of all, I'm not going to let him go out of my sight. That's not happening. Not with hundreds of people around. Not happening. And he's crossing over an area where cars come back and forth. You know, lots of reasons why. I didn't need to go into all that. I just said, it's my job to keep you safe. And if you're over there, I can't. So not today. It's not an option. That was it. He went off and played. He was perfectly fine. Not a problem. Okay? In that case, I took the second to explain because that's not something we normally do. So he never understood the rule for that before because we never had that experience before. So in those cases, it's okay to do that once or twice so they understand. And if you are consistently setting these rules with your children, these expectations, these boundaries, and they know that that's the norm for your family, you don't need to go into long details. My phrase with my children, when they were misbehaving sometimes, and they knew they weren't supposed to be, I didn't go into a TED Talk. I didn't give them a lecture. I didn't go into all these reasons why. I just said, can it? Can it? And they looked at me, and they knew exactly what that meant. I did not have to berate it to death. Okay. Hey, Annette. Hey, Michelle. I hopped on early today, guys. I apologize. I think when I was setting this up, my hand hit a button on the computer, and we started early. Here we go. Okay. When you over-explain, you are teaching your children that they can ignore you, they can compromise, and they can negotiate, they can stall. Okay, you're teaching them that. You don't realize you're doing that, but you're teaching them that. And that's the last thing you want to teach your children. Okay, you have a boundary, you enforce it. Yes, there's a little bit of wiggle room in such special situations like I just talked about, but if you consistently back down, you are creating more problems for yourself and your children. Because they're looking for a parent, they're looking for a leader, they're looking for somebody in charge. It makes them feel safe, it makes them trust you. And if you're wishy-washy and you're changing your mind from one minute to the next, that's extremely confusing to a child. I mean, heck, that's confusing to an adult, right? Let alone your children. Okay, so children aren't thinking like many adults. They're not many adults, they're children. They process differently than you do. And they don't need to hear lectures because I'll tell you what they're doing. If you're lecturing, they're going like this. They're not really physically, but inside their head, they're going, wah, 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 wah. That's what you sound like to them. They don't want to hear. Short, sweet, to the point. That's it. Clear, concise. Say it once. Okay? So we're going to give you some examples. You can say, I jotted a couple down here. You need to clean up your toys. So here's what you don't want to do. You need to clean up your toys because I'm going to vacuum and want to keep your things nice. Blah, 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 blah. Right? Here's what you say. It's time to clean up. You can start with the blocks. Boom. Now watch. Your kid's going to say, because I know some of you are going to ask this. Your kid's going to say, but I don't want to. Here you go. Well, here's your option. You can clean your room. Or you can say, I know you don't want to. Sometimes you have to do it anyway. Boom. Done. That's it. You're not going into long detail, negotiation, compromise. You're just stating fact. Tell them exactly what they need to do. That's what they need. Okay? Here's another one. Okay. Your child wants to go to the park. And you say, I said no because we don't have time to go to the park. You still have homework, and I know you're disappointed, and I have to make dinner. Yada, yada, yada. Instead, just say, we're not going today. I hear you're disappointed. And that's okay. Sometimes, that's it. You could say sometimes we get disappointed in life. That's even talking too much. Just say, we're not going today. Done. Now, let me tell you a little secret. They don't have to like it. And see, I think there is where parents get hung up. They want their children to be happy all the time and to make sure their child is never disappointed or it never doesn't get their way because it makes the parent, I feel bad if my child. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? See, when you do that, when you cave to your child, when you're coddling them and you're always giving them their way and you're always like agreeing with what they want to do, whether it inconveniences you or not, what you're doing is setting your child up for failure. Because in life, in the real world, that's not going to happen. And they need to learn how to deal with disappointment. They need to learn that everything is not going to go their way. If you don't teach them that at home, and they're raised to think the world revolves around them, and when it doesn't, as my mother used to say, they're going to have a rude awakening. It's not going to be pretty. And that's your fault. That's your fault as a parent. If you don't teach your child how they need to be in the world, I don't care what your excuses are, I don't care what your reasons are, that's your fault. Because that's your job. It's your job as a parent to raise your kids to be able to grow up and be out in the world as they need to be. Now, that might sound harsh, but that's the reality of the situation. Okay? So here's some one-liners that can work. Shut down an argument. Okay? It's a done deal. So you say to your child, you need to put your shoes away. I don't want to. It's a done deal. That's it. Very confident, not mean, not harsh. Go, it's a done deal. Or it's an open for discussion. That's one I use with my kids all the time. It's an open for discussion. That's very clear, right? And if they don't comply, then they have a consequence. And you can even say, like, especially if they're older, like you say, you need to clean your room, and they're like, I don't want to clean my room. You don't get in power struggles. You go, all right, here's your choice. You can either clean your room right now, or I'll go clean it. And one of two things is going to happen. I'm going to take everything off the floor that I find or I pick up, and I'm going to throw it away. Two, I'll clean it up, and then I'm keeping everything, and you're going to have to do extra chores around the house to earn your stuff back. What's your choice? Boom. They make the decision, then they're going to have the consequences of that decision. Okay, but when they're older, you can do a little bit more explaining to them, a little more. You're not even negotiating with them. You're just saying, here you go. You clean your room, or I will, and then these are consequences. They're not going to want either of these. They're going to want to go clean their room. Okay? You say this, you don't have to like it, but you still have to do it. I mean, don't we all do that in life? There are lots of things I don't like to do, but I have to do them, you know? That's just life. I don't like cleaning bathrooms. I don't like having to cook dinner every night of my life. I don't like having to go to the grocery store once a week all the time. But you do it, right? That's life. Your kids need to learn that. Okay, I'm not debating this. Well, that's where I would just say this is not up for discussion. And my children knew when I said that, that was it. We're not getting into negotiations. I don't negotiate with my children. I'm the parent. I'm in charge. And they don't have to like it. And trust me, there are many times they didn't. Okay, you can say, you can feel frustrated. You still have to follow directions. So you're acknowledging that they're upset about it. Or they don't really want to do it. But you know what? What was the phrase I used to hear when I was a kid? Tough nookies. Okay, I don't know what that means. But tough nookies, got to do it anyway. Okay, that's a Pennsylvania thing. I don't know why. But anyway, you're allowed to be upset. I'm still holding the boundary. Boom, done. We'll talk about this after you've done what I've asked you to do. So and we're going to get into this. These are all short, firm, kind, right? You're not yelling this at the children. You're just talking very calmly. You're a parent. You're in charge. You're not yelling. You're not getting upset. You're stating fact, okay? So you do that. And never over-explain. But if you do want to explain, you kind of do it after the fact. So they've gone and cleaned their room, and you can say, hey, let's talk for a minute. I know you really were frustrated you had to clean your room, but it's part of your responsibility as family. And you have a little discussion. You never, ever have this discussion, explain yourself during a power struggle or when they're upset, because they're not hearing you. And I find this a lot where parents talk at their kids, and then the kids get upset, and the parents keep trying to talk or comfort them or make them feel okay. You're wasting your breath. Save your breath. Be a leader. Be a parent. Be in charge. That is your responsibility as a parent. Okay? It's not always fun. Sometimes it's very painful to have to be like, so, just like, nope, you have to get it done. But you're the parent, and that's what you need to do. Okay, I'm not going to keep saying be the parent, because you know how I feel. I think tattoo that on my forehead. Okay, and when you are explaining, I'm just going to reiterate this one more time. When you are explaining yourself over and over and over, you are teaching them They can resist, they can ignore you, they can negotiate with you, they can try to get you to compromise. Because you're not saying it and then enforcing it. You're saying it and then you're giving them reasons why, and you're telling them, why you need to do it. And I know you might not like it, and who cares? Let me just tell you something. I grew up in the boomer generation. When my parents said something, you did it. You didn't question it. You didn't say, and my parents were not mean by any means, okay? Very loving, kind, happy, positive people. We weren't spanked, we weren't yelled at, well, maybe once in a while from my mom, but okay, great upbringing. But you had respect. And when your parents asked you or told you to do something, it wasn't up for negotiation. They didn't have to explain themselves to us. We didn't have the opportunity to negotiate. It was, go clean your room. Never once did they ask me how I felt about it. They didn't care. I mean, they cared. But when they told you to do something, you did it. You didn't fight back on it. You go, yes, okay, yep, and you go and do it. That's how it's supposed to work. Okay, so let me see who's in here. I'm sorry we get started early, but I want to tell you all why. It's important. Oh, we've had a lot of you jump in. Okay, Michelle, hello. Annette, hello. Shirley from Texas. Jenny. Tama, I think I'm saying that right. Well, thank you. She said, just love your advice. Thank you. Okay, Amy, if they ask why, here's what you say. Because I'm the parent, and I asked you to do it. I used to say because I said so. A lot of people don't like that, but it's the truth. You don't have to go into these explanations because I'm your parent, and I asked you to do it. That's all the explanation they need, period. Don't get into these long explanations when they say why. That's what they're looking for. It's for you to go and yada, 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 wah, 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 wah. The Charlie Brown teacher thing? That's what they're trying to get you to do because that's their stalling. Okay. Minnesota, good morning, Kim from Minnesota. Ellen, let me see. Yeah, there you go. Okay, Ellen said, just grab a garbage bag and say, okay, I'll clean it for you. All right? Let me tell you something. Children don't want you in their room touching their stuff. So if you say, okay, I'm going to clean it. So you can do this. I've heard people do this. Okay, I'm going to go clean it. And if you give your kids an allowance, okay, I'm going to go clean it, and I'm deducting $5 from your allowance because I just cleaned it for you. They don't want you taking their money, and they really don't want you touching their stuff, especially when they get to be around 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. No, don't touch my stuff. When they're younger, they may not care so much. That might not work for the younger kids, but trust me, those older kids, they don't want you in their room. Okay. Hello, Rachel from Wisconsin. Linda from Ohio. Did I get that right? Yes, Linda. Okay, Linda said when the kids do get the toys picked up, I tell them how great it looks and how proud I am of them. And that's a very good point. You always follow up with praise, always. And you're specific, okay? And when you say I'm proud of you, you also need to say you should be proud of yourself, okay? Because it teaches the children to have pride in themselves, not just make you proud, which is also cool, but specifically say, I love the way you cleaned your room, picked up all your toys. You should be proud of yourself. That was, a responsible thing to do. That positive reinforcement, they want more of. And then they're going to want to do that more. They're not going to argue so much with you when they realize that's a good thing that happens. Okay, David, hi from Denmark. Hello, Linda from Alabama. Maisel, what a pretty name, from Philippines. Hey, she said, love your advice. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, now here's the reason why I wanted you all to stay till the end. And if you're not a member of Common Sense Parenting with Pam, if you've just hopped in, please go and join that group. It's free. Just answer the 4 questions. 4. I really can't count. Answer the 4 questions. And then I'll go in and approve you for admittance. I think, like I said, I think we're up to 1,300 people now. So it's a great place to ask questions. We even have a channel on there. People are going back and forth with advice for each other on different topics that have arisen as a parent or grandparent. Okay, I wrote the book a couple weeks ago, 75 Quick Fix Tips for Real Life Behavior Challenges. And I think I sold like 60 of those in 2.5 weeks, which was amazing. And it's the first in my Pam in My Pocket collection. You download it to your phone, easy answers right there. Well, I'm almost done with the second book in that collection. It's called 60 Lists to Save Your Sanity, and that's exactly what it is. 60 lists. It's the same format. You download it to your phone. Boom. You have a topic that you're concerned about or an issue. Go to the table of contents, find it, hit that link. Boom. It hyperlinks you right to that page. Gives you 10 tips for that specific situation. And then you hit the link at the bottom, takes you right back to table of contents. So here's the deal. I almost have it done. I've been working furiously on it for the last couple weeks. Hopefully by the end of the week it'll be done. If you are a member of that group, you'll be able to purchase it for $8. So only people who are in that group are going to get that price. I'll do that for probably, a couple days. Then it goes up to a sale price of $9.99. Then it goes to $16.99 3 days later. So it's like doubling. So if you're a member of that group, it's exclusive only to members of that group to get this $8 price. Okay, so if you want to buy it, join that group. You can get it for $8. All right, and I'm excited about this one because this is topics that a lot of people have asked me about. I get a lot of comments in my reels, the comment section. I get people sending me messages on Messenger, and I can't answer all of these questions, but I try to take the topics or the content they're asking me about and put it into this book. So it's answering a lot of people's questions all at one time. Okay. Alrighty, if there's no other questions, okay, where do you find the group link? Linda, it should be right in here at the beginning of the comment section. And you can just go to Facebook and look for Common Sense Parenting with Pam. It's pretty simple to find that group. Okay. Let me go up here. I see some questions coming in. So we'll stay a little later since I started early, if that makes any sense. Okay. Let me get down here. Okay. Jordan, hello, from Michigan. Okay. Can I get some advice for a 3-year-old who doesn't talk and has tantrums? Okay. So neurodivergent or neurotypical? That's going to be two different answers there. So I need to know that. You can send me a private message in Messenger or just answer it here. Sharon, thank you. She says, love watching and listening. Thank you. Hello from Southwest Texas. Grandkids 4 and 5. Got it. Renee, thank you. She says, love the advice. Tabitha, hello from Indiana. Okay, Ronisha. Did I say that right? Ronisha? Maybe. From Ohio. Nice to meet you. Okay, and your teacher, 6th grade teacher, use all of this with my children. Very good. As well as some students. Excellent. Okay. All right. So I'm going to sign off now. Remember, go to the Common Sense Parenting with Pam link here or find it on Facebook. Answer those 4 questions. As soon as I'm done, I will go in and look for those people who have requested admittance. And if you've answered all 4 questions, you'll be admitted to the group. And then look for the end of the week in the group. There will be a post, a link to the ebook. So you can get it at the $8 price instead of what everyone else is going to pay. All right. Until next week, I hope you have a blessed one. And remember, hug and love your babies. Bye, y'all.